All right, so today I'm going to talk a little bit about anger and the whole idea of anger building upon anger. Um, so basically, it would look like this. You're driving in the car and someone cuts in front of you, and you just get fuming mad over them cutting in front of you. My goodness, they could have hit you. You could have hit them. It could have been an accident. You could have died. And you're just furious, and you're calling them a moron, and you're just playing over and over again. Could have had a wreck, and the ice cream in the back of the car would have melted, and you're just so mad. So, 3 or 4 minutes later, you're still on the same drive, and you're coming up to a stoplight, and the light's yellow, and the person in front of you stops on yellow, and now you have to stop because you're behind them. And so you're now furious that you're having to stop, and you're just the stupidity of people in this world, and you're just going on, and you can hear it. We've all been there, right? So anyway, so now you're mad because you're stopped at a red light. Let's face it, people, that's a pretty common occurrence in our world, and now you're angry about it, and that's really something we should expect. So what if we went back? What if you went back to the original scenario and you didn't get angry at the person who cut you off in front of you? What if you're just like, it's just part of life, it's going to happen? What if you just assume it's going to happen like 20 or 30 times every year, and I'm not going to get angry until the 21st time, whatever it is, whatever it takes for you not to get angry over that. And then, when you come up to the yellow light where the car stops, you're so busy singing the Greatest Showman soundtrack that you don't even notice that you have to stop at a red light. It doesn't bother you. But you can see how this can feed into relationships, that when you've allowed things to get you angry that really shouldn't, then you can end up being angry and mean to the people in your life that you love. So what do we do? And research shows venting doesn't work. So just so you know, that whole idea of I just had to give them a piece of my mind, and I just had to get it off my chest, or I deserve to be heard, or they deserve to hear what I have to say. That doesn't work, because that is just anger building on anger. You're still perpetuating that anger, and you're playing it over and over again in your head. Look, I'm not saying that we don't say things that need to be said. If something needs to be said, it needs to be said. But don't do it in the heat of anger. So let your anger subside and then come back. You can always go back and say it, even the next day. You can wait a whole day and still say what needs to be said, and keep your relationship intact by doing that. When you're spouting off in anger, it's not going to help your relationship with people in your home, people at work. And so you can always go back and say it later. You just don't want to say it in the heat of anger. So what do you do if you can't dispel the anger, or you didn't dispel it at the beginning, then and you feel that anger rising up and you're just fuming mad? Because here's the thing with anger: as we let it build upon itself, there comes a point where we really can't think clearly, because when we're angry, our brain actually releases a chemical. And at some point, that chemical will keep us from being able to think clearly. And so we won't be able to solve problems. We are going to say and do things that we regret. So we want to try to keep from getting to that point. And if we feel like we're getting close to that point, what do? Well, research shows the old standby, take a walk. It works. The key is, when you're on this walk, you're not mulling over everything you can't stand about this person, or everything about this situation that makes you angry. You have to actually stop thinking about it. So you have to actually be looking at the sky and listening to the birds and thinking about how green the trees are, and just really letting your mind go to other places other than the situation. Listening to music helps. It does matter what kind. Some music can actually agitate us. So Greatest Showman, that would probably work. Just kind of, it takes your mind off of your anger. It doesn't mean you're ignoring it, but you're going to come back to it when you're not angry. You're going to come back to the situation or the issue at hand. Sometimes you don't need to come back to it at all. If the person who cut you off, that's not something you really need to deal with. So you just need to let that one go. But for some people, listening to music works, watching a sitcom, just really removing yourself for a little while and letting your brain cool down, for lack of a better word, and letting those chemicals exit your brain so that you are now able to think more clearly. So basically, the idea when it comes to anger is becoming self-aware, that you can feel it coming, that you can reframe things, that you don't need to be angry about, and that that you find what works for you to help cool your anger down so that you can come back and deal with the issue in a more calm manner and a more clear thinking manner. So so I think that's really it for today. So all right, bye.